All right, hold on. I forgot to add this on here first, and then we'll get to it. And it goes below everything. There we go. All right, cool. Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I'm Ashtarothi, but we are not playing Eve today. It has been a day. It has been a day. I was already rearranging things to try to make it so that I could have this new cool camera set up to see how it worked out. So that way I didn't have to green screen as much. And both my USB hub and the webcam that I bought, or that I had, were both non-functional for some reason. Now, the hub has always been kind of janky. But, yeah, testing them both independently, plugging them both into different computers, different ports, neither of them will work. So then I went to Wally World, Walmart, and got new ones, and here we are. But, yeah, hopefully you guys like the setup. Let me move this chat over to here so that way it's easier for me to see. All right. Besides, I've been meaning to do this anyways, and it's like... So my plan is that I'm getting things in place so that way I can join Ader on, like, tonight or tomorrow. Let's just start over. Yeah, I do too. I mean, this has always been on the wall, but it's behind my computer. And I was like, you know what? What if I turn it around? Will that work? Dutch Gunner 07. If there is any Eve news, that go ahead and bring it to my attention. Oh, good. Glad I started over. So yeah, Hollow Knight has got to be in my top 5 favorite games. It is one of my go-tos. It's also a game I wish I had more people to talk about, talk to about. Although, I will say, I need everybody to play Outer Wilds, beat it, and then we can chat. Not Outer Worlds, Outer Wilds, as in like where the wild things are. It is actually kind of tricky to start over because you no longer have your power-ups, and they change the way that you play in some ways. Higher beings, these words are for you alone. Your great strength marks you among us. Focus your soul, and you shall achieve feats of which others can only dream. Oops. What was the command? Oh, heal. Okay, no, I did do it right. Yes, I love both Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisp. They're both amazing. I'm doing good, man. How are you? You know, the one good thing about this was that I was trying to save up to get a new router. And you know, people have been so generous recently. I was like, oh yeah, cool. But now I had to get a new webcam. So here we are. It's all right. I might still be able to do all right. I just need to wait for everything to cycle through. What? I just knew as soon as it went down, it was like, I need to just replace this. Like, I can't. It's not even a question. At least it's like tax deductible or something. Higher beings, these words are for you alone. Within our lands, do not hide your true form. Let all bask in your majesty, for only this kingdom could produce one such as you. Yeah. This morning, when I tried to move around my computer, and then when I went to go plug everything back in, both my webcam and the USB hub that it was attached to were dead. Yep. We're never playing Eve again. Where am I supposed to go? Jesus, I'm lost in the tutorial. You guys are so distracting. Oh. That's why. I was further back than I thought I was. This is the normal way to go. Higher beings, these words are made for you alone. Beyond this point, you enter the land of the King and Creator. Step across its threshold and obey our laws. Bear witness to the last and only civilization, the eternal kingdom, Hallownest. Well, that's good. I also don't. Like I said, my setup now. I was already setting it up, and I wanted to put this tapestry. Give you guys something better visual than just trying to do some poor green screens. No. I like to think I do alright with green screens, but this is still probably better. Let me know, I guess. Oh there, traveler. I'm afraid there's only me left to offer welcome. Our town's fallen quiet, you see. The other residents, they've all disappeared, headed down that well one by one, into the caverns below. Used to be there was a great kingdom beneath our town. It's long fell to ruin, yet it still draws folks into its depths. Wealth, glory, enlightenment, that darkness seems to promise all things. I'm sure you too seek your dreams down there. Well, watch out. It's a sickly air that fills the place. Creatures turn mad and travelers are robbed of their memories. Perhaps dreams aren't such a great thing after all. I actually had to buy an exact same copy of the camera because it's the Razer Kia, I think. But it was like that or like Walmart's generic webcam. Like, nah. I'll set up my laptop's webcam first. Yeah, this is the new walking in stations. It doesn't say I'm playing Eve, does it? It should say Hollow Knight. I thought I updated it. Oh, he's sad. This is Hollow? Yeah. Well, Hollow Knight. Right? Should be. Right. I don't have a map yet. Oh, speaking of maps. Hi. Hello there. Come down to explore these old beautiful ruins, don't mind me. I've a fondness for exploring myself. Getting lost and finding your way again is a pleasure like no other. We've exquisitely lucky, you and I. I'm a cartographer by trade, and I'm working on mapping this area right now. Would you like to buy a copy of my work so far? Sure. Hey, Valamir. Alright, so now I can... A map can be a useful thing, but alone it won't show you where you are. If you head in that direction, I suggest purchasing a compass from my wife, Ilzda. She's just now opening our new map shop up in Dirtmouth, selling all sorts of useful things for wanderers like yourself. She'll even sell some of my old maps from time to time. Okay, cool. Now I can... Yes. I'm glad that you appreciate it. Do my best. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I do more than the minimum. Oh no! Nope. I think I technically could kill that thing, but I'm supposed to get another power before I kill it. So this game is of a style of game, for those of you who don't know, called a Metroidvania. And it's titled that because it stems from a game design that kind of simultaneously emerged in two different games, Castlevania Symphony of the Night and Metroid 2 specifically. Although Metroid kind of started the whole concept, but whereas a normal game like side-scroller has levels, and you generally go from like left to right and complete the levels, in a Metroidvania, the map goes in all different directions, and in general, the way that they prevent you from progressing or to staying at the progression level that you're supposed to be at is through the use of powers as reward, right? So right now there's a lot of things I can't access, either because I don't have the way to shoot a guy, or because I don't have double jump, or because I don't have wall climb. And so over time, not only do I get stronger just like for swinging at people, but we gain new abilities, which allows us not only different ways of playing and different powers and conveniences as a player, but also allows you to access other places. So it's a really good way of like Zoria is the Hollow Knight. No, that wasn't what I wanted at all. So basically, it's a side scroller with exploration. Oh, I can't equip charms here. All right. So right now, I'm trying to get it. Basically, it's about kind of exploring the space that you can get to, right? And also, I don't know if you were here earlier, there's a part with a bunch of spikes that under normal conditions would be inaccessible. But because I know that like if you swing and hit spikes below you, you'll bounce instead of, die. I was able to get across that area. Normally you would like have to come back later when you have like the dash or something. Metroid 2, I actually have not played Metroid 2. I played the hell out of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I played some Metroid 1. That's the real problem, is I played Metroid 1, and so that way, by the time I got to Metroid 2, or by the time Metroid 2 came out, I wasn't really feeling it. Like, I didn't get Metroid 1 at the time. Hey, Sugar Baby and Rice. We are just having a chill day. Like I said, if anybody has anything that is actually news or something like that, like Hobo Leaks or a post, let me know. We can talk about it. But otherwise, I kind of want to just share this game with you. All right, where am I? I don't know where I am. Oh, I'm back there. All right, I know where I need to go. I've been wandering around kind of randomly, hoping to run into the boss, and the problem is I found the loop before I found the boss. Ex-Goblin? Oh, that's right, I can go down here. Right? Cool. We'll see. No, I can't go down here. I thought you could come to that boss from either direction. Oh. Boo. This is going to be too dark for me, isn't it? Oh, this girl right here. This is the saddest thing in this whole game. Oh, she's singing a song. Oh, bury my mother pale and slight. Bury my father with eyes shut tight. Bury my sisters 2 by 2. And then when they're done, let's bury me too. Ah, don't you know that one? It's one of my favorites. We can sing something else if you like. If you start singing, I'll join in. You better have a beautiful singing voice. Ha ha ha. So what are you down here for? If you get wealthy, then look around you. These mines are just bursting with riches. There's plenty for everyone. Just grab a pick and join in. Ha ha. So, yeah. Of all of the stories in this game, hers is the saddest in my opinion. Oh, yeah. Oof. Is everybody recovering okay? I haven't been able to, like, try to keep track of every single person. Yeah, I can't go down there. That's what it is. Can't take an Eve break. Who can solve the arc? Like I said, after the luck I had this today, I'm scared. Well. Oh yeah. Whatever. We'll go this way. There's a lot of going around in circles in these games too, because of it. Oh yeah. I mean, I've said it a few times, but both my webcam, my nice webcam, and my USB hub died this morning. I assume that one probably killed the other, but well, who knows? Hearing that super spreader news made me realize how right CCP Dragon was with not going. I was nervous about it the whole time. Like, it's spooky stuff. There we go. And this game is known as the Dark Souls of Metroidvanias because it's, you know, it's got some pretty high challenge spikes. But more importantly, when you die in this game, you lose all of your currency. And you get one, like you have to go back to where your spirit was and kill it really quick to get it back. If you die again, then you lose it. An arch? An arch is, you know, a curved top between two pillars. Oof. Watch out, there's a big line behind you. Yeah, it's pray tell. Please tell. Would you please tell me this? Or would you please tell this person this? Would you pray tell? That's alright. I think it was like, I was like 14 or, no, I think I was way older than that. Probably like 17 or 18 because I remember it was like after, way after like normally. No, I probably was 13. When I was like 13 years old, I suddenly like a bolt of lightning like thought about it and realized that trick or treat is like a threat. Oh, why did I do that way? Pray return to the walking sands. Yes! Exactly. I wanted to feed the worm. Okay. Eat night. I don't need to yet. Wait, hold on. Sure. And if we want to, in a little bit, I can always, Yay! If we want to, I can always pull up my character that's like at the end of the game. There's a charm you can get that makes it so that like little bugs come out and grab all the geodes around you, so you don't have to individually pick up each one. Like, I think of all of the power-ups, that's one of the ones I want the most right now. Here we go. Right? No? No? Here? No? There we go. There you are. Oh! Forgot about that move. Oh, he's about to get mad. About to get mad. That's right, get mad. Run. Why am I keep swinging up? Boom! Get mad. Get mad. Oh. Whoa! Ah, dang it. Oh! Wasted. There we go. Oh, man. There we go. Get mad. There we go. Bye. Actually, in the very first Castlevania, I think it was, if you go to the right, it dead ends pretty quickly. As a way, as the very first lesson of Metroid is, you know, you will have to go to the left as well as the right. Oh yeah, this thing's a bug too. Check it out. All right. What did I do that for? Between the Koshoi and the Deathless? No. The Deathless seems very mundane as far as, like, power goes. There is potentially a connection between the Deathless and Sakuni. The Mimitar guy. I was talking to, I think it was Riley, about the source of, or Sorrow, what Sorrow's whole deal is, right? And I went and looked at their like the actual website entries specifically for them, and what I found was that they are the Concord group that the terrorist girl. I think it was a girl. Whatever. The terrorist, the rebel without a cause, blew up the ship of. And that's the guy that, or that's the person, I should say, that Sakuni is reporting to. Or at least, you know, having conversation with. So, and, what's his name? Leopold, who appears to have been working for the Deathless for quite some time, is now hiding out in the Great Wildlands in what I think is a Major Thucker base. I also think that Leopold was basically a double agent. You know, he was Garistus's point of contact. He was managing things for the rabbit, but at the same time, he also was really working for the Deathless. And the Deathless don't... It would seem as if that the Deathless's group is not a big fan of the... Definitely the Serpentis and the Angels. But it seems like they're not really working in tandem with the Garistus either. It's hard to say. But Zohar, I guess, wasn't connected to the... Zohar wasn't connected to Peacock. It was Tanuki. Hazotsu. Hazotsu. Whatever. Tanuki. Where am I going now? I'm going back up to the top. That's where I'm going. Because I hit... Wait, did I hit as far as I could go that way? Whatever. Oh, I have an idea. The Kosho have a little have a title called the Deathless because they're immortal and their soul. Yeah. I agree too. There's also an interesting association between the Deathless as a concept and the Reborn as a concept, especially with the proximity to Intaki. But the timing is okay for it to turn out that the Deathless is actually like a secret Triglavian manifestation. But like, he's also just a dude that's been spotted here and there since 2016. Hey, cool. YouTube follows. Oh, I didn't read this one. He says he'll take me places. Take me somewhere. Have you ever considered that CCP has no idea what they're doing with the lore and instead listen to your stream? I mean, except, like, I'm literally discovering... I'm piecing together stuff from 2016 to now. Like, I've watched these things, and hell, if you go back to my videos, or, like, some of my older streams when I'm talking about this stuff, I'll always be like, and there's stuff going on in the Mimitar lore, but it's all about, like, tribes and stuff, and I don't really know what's going on, you know? Like, there's this whole plot that has been building up that I didn't know the pieces of. The Deathless was a big, like, tie back, you know? It stitched a lot of things together. Come to buy a map, have you? It's really my husband you should be dealing with. But what a surprise! He's headed down below. He'll pop back occasionally to deliver new maps for the store. But I do wish he'd spend a little more time up here. I've not much interest in retail myself. Now, let's see what you have. Let's see what's here for me to sell. All right. The compass. Good. On the lore roundtable, the Mimitar's Elder lore is going to get sorted and made more sensible. I'm telling you, the more I look at it, the more it looks like the Elders were connected to the Adheduani. Because the one who figured out the Talrog the first time was the one who went with the spirits. Okay, so now I'll update the map whenever I go to a bench. Epios of Phocis. Yes. 07. this even going to get me back to where I want to be? Let's find out. But no, I mean, one of the things I've traced, like, I've looked at trying to just map this particular arc is just how consistently the lore has been moving for years. Like, we talk about it, you know, like there's big events and that CCP abandons it in between. And, you know, I've always kind of known that that's not as true. You know, there's always world news is kind of, like the world news wax and wane and all that kind of stuff. But where's my compass? Oh my god. But like trying to actually lay it all out and turn it into a cohesive narrative made me realize just how many things happen per year. And I sincerely believe that if you mapped like, or if you told the story of like YC119 the same way that you told the story of YC111 or any of those other ones from back in the day, you'd have just as like interesting of a story narrative, which is one of the things I want to do. So quite the contrary, I think that if there's anything, we have failed the lore by and large by not engaging with what's there. As a matter of fact, I would rather not focus all my time on doing all these guides about the lore. It's why it took me so long to get around to doing it. But I sincerely believe that this is a hole that is missing within the game, and it's making all of our game worse. Right? That if we could have a better, clearer literacy in what's actually going on with the universe, and it wouldn't be considered work, it'd be like pretty cool, like a lot of other video games, you know, you don't grumble about having to find out about Overwatch's characters, or, you know, even the plot in Hollow Knight, or reading stuff like that, or flavory stuff from the fact that you have to rescue characters in Subnautica, like, you know what I mean? Like, we like stories as human beings, so it's not about it being unlikable as a story, or even or not even an interesting story. It's just not engaged with very much, and there are good reasons. It's not I'm not 100% blaming the players or anything like that by any means. CCP has basically hit it for years, in kind of an unusual way. But my point is that since we're here now, anyways, it's worth noting that no, in fact, CCP seemed to have a pretty clear, consistent idea of at least, like, the way I like to think about it is like, imagine a campaign setting for like a D&D campaign, right? Where, like, it doesn't have, or not even a module, but the campaign setting, right? So you have all of the different groups, you have what people know about them, you have maybe 2 or 3 secrets for the DM that like inspire their movements that the DM can work in wherever he needs to. You know, you've got different areas and locations and whatnot. It sets up the universe. I think that they have, when they talk about the lore Bible, or you know what they have now based on that, it's closer to that, right? Obviously, they don't have like a this is going to happen next kind of thing. They do a lot of what I like to call hooks and boxes, right? Like, so story hooks, leaving things that could be played back to later. Like, who knows whether or not they knew that they were going to get back to the Deathless right now when they made them in 2018 or 2016 or whenever it was. Like, who knows if they knew when they were going to like trigger this, or what they were going to trigger it for when they first made it. They just knew that that would be a good hook. When they made the Kayanoke Plague, they didn't plan on the Kayanoke Inquest in 2002. No, they just leave a hook. And then when it's time to do a crazy thing, they can look through their, you know, articles of hooks, and then it's like, oh, look, that's the thing that always was the way it was. Ha ha ha, and now it seems like it makes all sense, right? You can retroactively make something make sense if you leave it open correctly at the beginning of the story. Like, that's just good storytelling. And then Boxes are, of course, mystery boxes, right? Like, what's in the box? So, leaving a dossier that isn't opened, or, secrets that are taken but not well defined, given to different people, leaving things open for question. Giving opportunities for it to be like, aha, that's what's in the box. Make people wonder. And so, like, that's kind of how you tell a story in these kinds of environments, because the lore team doesn't get to choose where the plot is going so much, because they have to conform with whatever the development is. And development doesn't get chosen until usually at most like 6 months ahead of time. Like on a broad scale. Like not even an idea. Like you can know like kind of what sort of things that people are talking about, but when it's going to come out, it's hard to say. So, but as things get closer, we see the stories begin to coalesce and specific story arcs begin. Like it's always been that way. It's just the idea of them like leading towards an actual feature release. Like it used to be that they would just come out, like tell us about the feature, and then we would get the lore justification. But if they signal it earlier and clearly enough with that intent in mind, knowing what they're coming out with, then I think it would be pretty easy for them, not easy, but pretty practical for them to do that, to make a story that feels engaging, that explains and makes the release of new content feel diegetic. During my public fleets in Chapter 1 and 2, we talked about the lore a lot and raised a lot of internal interest and awareness. Yeah. And I mean, like, I've studied the lore for a while now. And this event, this story, this arc has caused me to look at things that I've never looked at before. And understand pieces, big pieces that I never understood before. Like, most people might have seen the Deathless as being kind of this throwaway thing. And this is one of the reasons why, like, sometimes the random theories gets to me. Because, to me, like, this is a keystone. This is the kind of information, this revelation is the kind of information that you go back through everything that you thought you knew and piece it back together. Right? Before PKN was even PKN, they were working together and have been accused of smuggling across Gallente, or during the Gallente embargo. So there's a pretty good indication that might be like where that even started. And it's just like the EOM thing, right? Like, as soon as you realize that there is this shadowy group that's coming around and what their objectives are, then you're suddenly like, okay, well, does this explain any of the other pieces? What can this teach us about what we already know? And that, to me, that's really exciting. The thing about invasions, and I said this a lot at the time, was that the thing that made me excited about invasions was it was a story that ended. Right? People might like or not like Pochfin or whatever, or the way that the invasions were executed. But you gotta hand it to them. They started a story, and like basically 3 years later, like they signaled that it was going through. They called it Chapter 1, 2, and 3, for Christ's sake. And in the end, it concluded. It had a pretty climactic ending. And there's no doubt about it that the next thing to happen will be a new story, right? A new book, as it were, not just a new chapter. And that, to me, honestly, was a pretty big step. The idea that CCP could actually finish a story or finish something through without abandoning it or leaving it alone halfway through. I would have preferred, obviously, more answers, but that's what the boxes are for. I'm lost. I'm hunting for stuff, but I also am grinding for money. Like, one of the main objectives, one of the main crossroads at first is that you have to buy like a lantern, so that way you can go deeper into the darkness. But at the same time, I also need to find the store, so I'm just kind of wandering around. How do you progress through this game? Yeah, oh, hey, I found a new boss. I'm the one going around in circles. Yes, that is an easy boss. Oh yes, I have a compass now, see? So that's how you progress. And this boss is supposed to teach you to never trust anything in this game. There we go. This is the guy I needed.
Oh, you oaf. You wield your nail like a club. How much deeper do we have to go? Oh, what? Who are you? I see. This old village. What a strange dream to have led me down here. If you hadn't have found me, I don't think I would have ever woken. I'm Sly. Usually, I live in an uneventful life in Dirtmouth. The air in these ruins don't agree with me, so I best be getting back. If you return above, come and see me. I'll probably be the friendliest face left up there, and I can only thank you properly for a good deed.
So, yeah, it's Yoda. It's Yoda Bug. So, that's the guy I needed. You find out the story, who all made the fine metal work in buildings? It's all been fixated on. Oh! Like in this game? Yeah. The White King. There's definitely a fair chunk of magic. We're gonna go with magic going on in this universe. Basically, the short of it is that the White King came here and somehow brought basically consciousness to the bugs and created this great civilization called Hallownest. And but eventually, oh god, this is the bank again. Eventually there emerged this other deity, this other thing called the Radiance, which came in through the moths, and it was an infection that goes through the dreams and causes them to, it basically takes over their minds and turns them into zombies, or at least makes them feral again. And the Hollow Knight, the White King fought against it, and in the end failed. And that's about all I can say without giving away too many spoilers. Feels strange that Brutor born, but trained into prophecy before learning to despise Amar. Huh? I must have missed something that Jimmy said or something. Oh good, they're mowing the lawn outside. How you lore teaching affect how I view the game? If you're saying that I'm helping you see the game more complexly, good. I'm glad. There's the Gathering Swarm. Oh yeah, it's 180 1800. So let's get to farming. I can't remember why you want the rancid egg, but we'll see. Oh, good. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I do it for, man. Like, the thing is that I was told all the same things as you guys, right? That the lore isn't really relevant, that only a few people on the fringes ever care about it, that CCP, you know, doesn't, or used to be care about it, but doesn't care about it anymore, all this stuff, right? But then when I dug into it for myself, and also a bunch of other facts about the lore, when I dug into it, I realized just how wrong my understanding of it was, and how incredibly interesting of a universe it was, like, unironically. And then more importantly, you know, having been a witness to the Eric Jalon project, but not a member of that whole thing, like, I saw how engaging it can be, and to find out that, like, it's almost like CCP keeps trying, but when people don't engage with it, or more importantly, players react negatively to it because they want it to all be about them, quote unquote, as if there's some sort of opposition between these two things, then it doesn't get the attention that it deserves. I used to blame CCP for it, and I still do to some extent, but honestly, this isn't about CCP not doing their part at this point. There are things for us to figure out that we just haven't. And things there's things that we've figured out and then subsequently more or less lost. It's very frustrating. I just realized I need to... I keep not equipping my charm after... Wait, did I buy the charm? Yes, I did. I need to equip it. This is something I really like, because now attacking Amar in a prophecy is like, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Wait, what? Oh. But yeah, I'm a firm believer that, like, understanding the universe and all the stuff about it can only make the game more interesting to you. The thing I am frustrated about is that there's such a disconnect between the act of discovering the universe and the act of playing the game. Right? Like, you learn about the universe by reading about it on the universe.eveonline.com, or by listening to me talk about it, and I've read about it on that website or something along those lines, right? Like, there's nothing about this where you tell the person, like, oh yeah, if you want to know more, you should really play this story. You know, this adventure, or this quest line, or you should do this activity. If you really want to learn the secrets of the Sancha, you should start doing data relics. You find all kinds of crazy stuff in there. No, we don't hear any of that. There's no in-game reward for knowing. Well, there is some in-game rewards for knowing things about the organizations or the lore, but there's not really very good in-game mechanisms to become engaged with the lore. The most challenging question that I get asked is, well, how do we get, if somebody wants to get involved in this stuff, how do they get involved? Outside of some PvP groups, it's actually hard to answer that question. Not just no plot hooks, but not very much like here's a good example. The previous event had the different papers, right? The different holotapes that we were able to get. And those holotapes told a story. So, and like the Triglavian data, data cores. These you use these to learn things about it, right? You can go through it, you pick it up, you go while you're doing the Abyss, or at least not now, but it used to be. But while doing the while doing the Abyss, you get the stuff to, or you get these records that tell you stuff about them, and then you learn about it. It'd be nice if they like took it even another step where, like, I'll put it this way. Every escalation should be very individualized to the pirate faction, I would say. Right? An escalation should be an opportunity to, really learn, like, not just get something cool from the people, definitely that, but also, where am I? No, I need to go down. You get what I'm saying? I actually really like the idea that, oh God, that's why not. I really like the idea of, where do I want to go? I feel like there's at least one place that I should be able to get to early. Well, not all escalations go to Losec. But, like, so, one of the things I've always wanted was Echo, or not always wanted, but one of the things that Echoes does that I kind of would like to see experimented with in EVE, oh my god, is the idea of, like, unlockable missions. So imagine if you get, there's like 6 different escalations, right? That you can get based on which site you're in and all sorts of stuff. And like all but one of them can be done in HiSec or whatever. Well, each escalation has a pretty good chance of dropping a specific item. And then if you get all of those items, then that allows you to unlock a new mission that can now spawn as part of your mission pool. Right? So now, in the same way that you like add cards to your deck in like a card building game, you're actually like adding the opportunity to do certain missions to your selectable pool. So like, you get the data from all this stuff, and you don't actually get to, you don't understand how to process it necessarily, but you turn it all into your agent, and then now that agent has a new mission, which basically she says, oh, well, we figured out that data, it leads here, we need you to attack them. Oh man, is this it? Is this the place? Oh! I'm gonna try one more time. Oh! Ah. Yeah, that is another way of putting it, you know, like a rework of Cosmos to actually like be good and function and relevant and worth recommending Uh, that would be a pretty big step in the direction of what I'm talking about. Yes. Yeah, new epic arcs is another way to do. Yeah, but what if an entire epic arc requires you to find specific stuff, or you can buy it from the market potentially, but like somebody had to find it. Whoa. Oh, okay. I'm confused. Why did I come down here again? Oh, gosh. Oh. I don't know how I'm supposed to deal with that. Like that? I guess? Oh! Booey! Ah! Can I could theoretically parry it, maybe? What? Oh my gosh. Oh, this is gonna suck! But I like my stuff. I don't want to lose it. No! Well, that complicates things pretty heavy. Shit. All right. I think I'm supposed to have dash by that point. Something tells me. Or at least, I don't know. I could beat him. But I needed to have been way more in practice than I am. Wait, what? Where? Okay. Oh, man, back in the day when I played this a lot, I beat the whole thing. Like, I didn't do like all of the god mode things. The what is it called? I can't remember. God something. I didn't do any all of those challenges. I did at least some of them, but I have done I've done the Path of Pain. I beat the game. For some reason, I never got around to actually going after the Radiance, but there we go. The Pantheon Hollowness. Is that the arena? I beat the arena. Like basically every challenge before the God Home. That's what it was. God Home. Hey! How goes it? I'm just trying to recover my soul. Like you do. There it is. Should I try again? There's this one. There's like this little offshoot there. I can't remember why. Oh no, because the top one's the crystal. The offshoot there is the dark room. So yeah. Hey, Darafin. Glorification unfit, mortification unfit. Darafin, you are glorified. How's it going? Oh. I don't think I've done that one. Are Mimitar and Kaldari against each other because of it's mostly alliances, like well, Ishikone does have pretty good relationships outside of the state. Ah! Ah! Oh my gosh, that's not gonna do it. Oh! Oh gosh. Oh no! You gotta be kidding me. No! David Hewlett's? Not by name. Hey, Styler. Oh. Cool. I'm so bad with names, man. I don't know if you're talking about an Eve streamer, real life person, nothing. Ha. It's my obligatory one. Oh my god. That's what I get for talking too soon. Oof. Alright, let's see if I can find some other tool before I have to fight that dude again. detect earthquakes. That's pretty cool. I always wanted to use an Adreno board or whatever to make like a live faction warfare map, like a real. Oh, I think I can just do this straight down the middle, can I? Uh-huh. Just in case I felt clever. Had to bring me back down to earth, I guess. But yeah, like pull API data and update the map. That's like a big tactical map. Well, what if you want to detect earthquakes that your ass is not sensitive enough to detect? Nope, I've already been down this way. What makes it so I can't go down this one again? Oh, I know why. I need a double jump or a dash, because I need to be able to get up there. I heard kids outside for a second. I was like, "Oh crap! Did my son get like it? Am I a lot later than I thought I was?" But no. Did I ever play a game called Gladius? That game rings a bell, but I'd have to like look it up before I could say yes or no. I haven't played this game in a long time. I just, you know, you can only wait for Silk Song for so long, you know, before you have to go back and play the classic. I think we've done this one too. Oh. Oh, this isn't a bank, but this is that. Right. Boo. What I really like about this game is, so there's the city in the game is named the City of Tears, because it's always like just a light drizzle. But wait, it's inside. Well, if you go on the map directly above the City of Tears, there's a lake. We're going to go up and to the left. Oh, yeah. Okay. I can get this one. Is that it? No! What do you guys think about doing a day of Stellaris? No, I need to start getting the interviews ready or started. That's what I need to focus on. This weekend I mostly was focused on, you know, alliance affairs and such. I think today I need to get my interviews started and, you know, set up and arranged now that we have actual candidates. Lots to do. Ha! Get wrecked. Also, I heard the sound. There it is. Yeah, interviews for the CSM. Oh, this is the darkness. Yeah, this is the darkness one. That's what I thought. Can't reach up there. Yeah, this is very dangerous for me. Can I not buy this? Can you not pay for this until it's lit? Oh, man. I don't remember either. I thought you could actually proceed without the light, but maybe not. And this links it all back together. Hopefully we're getting rid of Kenneth. I mean, I'm going to interview everybody. Like, my efforts as a person who's trying to facilitate a good CSM election and my agenda as an individual voting member can only get so mixed up, right? Like I'm clear about my priorities as a person, but ultimately I'm not interviewing people to get my point across. I'm there to find every candidate's, you know, like basically I'm there to answer the question, why would somebody vote for them, right? So I'm trying to find the most maybe favorable, charitable, I don't know, but like the strongest argument I think that they have about what kind of person would want them to support them. This year you used to vote how the state tells you to vote? Well, good B. Good B. I mean, if anything, like, what we can really take away from the CSM elections is just the raw power of voting blocks, right? Like, not just in EVE Online, but just in general. Like, congratulations, voting blocks run elections. Maybe I should be able to kill that dude. Why can't I get down this one? Ah. Oh, Maligan Marshlight for the Nidhogger. That's a good one. Now's a really good time to look at the sales, aren't they? Don't they still have the sales going on? I know I picked up a set of, I think, Raven Navy, and Golem Ghostbird skins. There has to be a reason why I didn't go down here. Couldn't go down here. Oh yeah, double jump. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go try to fight that dude. Waiting for a code for some unique skins and clothing. Oh, for FanFest? Yeah, so they're in the game now, or they should be. But the funny thing about that, I don't know if funny is the right word, but the thing about that is that, like, outside of the Invasion World Tour, most of the time the FanFest skins are not, like, overly thrilling. And I think this year lends more towards that direction, if I remember correctly. But I also saw those skins that they put into the game a few months back, a little while ago, with the really cool particle effect and the SOE like ships. Oh hey, yes. Oh, the code you sent never. I got you. So you're going to ask him how his alliance would survive without his inside market? No, I don't likely will bring that up during the interview. No. And I mean, like, unless it is actually a thing. That, I mean, like, my job is not to ambush the person with an accusation, right? So I will often do some pretty due diligence, or do a little bit of homework on the person. Usually I try to, like, only go and look at their guide or whatever. Their hold on. Where the hell am I supposed to be trying to get to now? Is it down there? No, it's not down there. Oh, I know where. Duh. I got it now. Like, if there is a public thing about something, like, I'll often bring it up to give them an opportunity to talk about it. But given that I haven't heard very much about that particular accusation, and it sounds pretty generic, to be honest, probably not. Yeah, that's my point. Like, just based on that particular question, I'm unwilling to pound down or, like, make accusations against somebody. At best, what I'd say is, you know, this is something that has been brought up some. Is there anything you want to respond to? That's about it. I'm sure Kenneth will run on his on his legacy, more or less. But what I will ask him is, last year he spoke a lot about how CCP is coming out with an industry changes part 2, and that he wanted to be able to be there to help do it. But outside of like basically clearing things up with the blueprints, I don't know this big phase 2 that he mentioned that seemed like it was going to make it all make sense. So I would actually ask for him to answer for that more than accusations of insider trading. Oh, juice. Juice, 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 juice. Oh, no! Woo! Ah. Hey! Not so scary. He's great for the game as a developed CCP employee side, but he's not when he's not directly influencing a war effort. I would expect that every single person on the CSM that is related to a major null block that is in the middle of a war should be considered. That was it? All I got was a piece? Oh my god. Should be considered like an agent of their people, like a lobbyist, effectively. And like to that end, I think that can be fine. I think that CCP A has more than one avenue in order to get information, and B are pretty good judges of whether or not any given person is, spouting their own perspective, as it were, or what their perspective is and how much it's being tainted. And as a game developer, like, part of your job is taking in player feedback and interpreting that to understanding, like, the actual experience and what's causing those reactions and that feeling, and then adjusting accordingly, right? Getting the information. And in the case of a game like EVE Online, which is both complex and competitive, you can't ever just act on one side's feelings about the matter, because both sides of any given encounter are valid players that optimally would walk away having fun in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, who is this creeping face out of the darkness? My, you're looking grim. A strange, empty face and a wicked-looking weapon. Something important has drawn you into Hollownest's corpse, but I won't ask what. Perhaps the reason you found me is because you need my help? Say no more, friend. I'm going to give you a gift, a nasty little spell of my own creation. It's a perfect for a little one like you. Oh, ha ha!
There we go. Right. Yeah. I see. But that's the internal conflict, isn't it? Like, you want one of the biggest industrialists in the game, you want their insight. But at the same time, you're now giving an edge to the one of the most industrious people in the game. Right? And like, even under optimal conditions, how does he, you know, it goes back to what Villy has said a few times to me, like how he had to make sure that his decisions were not tainted by his knowledge. He had to act as if he didn't know. And like, sure, that's noble and everything, but A, who can say that they do that perfectly? And B, why would everybody just do that? You know? And how do you tell the difference? So I think that CCP must work with that problem. And I think that that's one of the reasons why you see CCP really locking down their information on certain things, right? Like I said, I always say, or I've said this many times, but you know, if CCP knows that something is just straight up not going to be popular, like the payment changes, right? There's no way that they're going to go to the CSM and get anything that gives them any kind of meaningful feedback whatsoever, right? What is the CSM going to say that is actually actionable by CCP? They're not going to stop. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, you're right. People are going to hate that. We'll not do the $20 thing. No, they've already made the decision to do that in spite of the fact that they know that people aren't going to like it. So the CSM telling them that they don't like it isn't going to do anything. Now, you could argue that the CSM could tell them, well, you need to make sure to sell it with something good. But, I mean, theoretically, their own PR team can say that. But my point is that, like, or the industry changes, right? And scarcity changes. CCP didn't make the scarcity changes expecting them to be popular. So why would you share them first with with the player base, right? All you can do is give up the essence of chaos that you're attempting to instill. So you don't. You ask them questions, you communicate with them on things that you can communicate on, and abstract things, and otherwise perform your tests and do your things. Yeah, also, CCP absolutely contacts other people besides the CSM when they want to know something. I mean, that's not even hidden knowledge. I mean, CCP's in all kinds of different streams. They're on the Twitters. They're even on Reddit. As hostile as it is, they still go there. Shoot, I didn't read it. Either way, he trapped me. I just wanted to go. So CCP did give the CSM the info on the new blueprints ahead of time. They could prepare, advise CCP. Well, so like CCP could communicate to the CSM that they intend on, eventually once scarcity is over, changing the capitals to make them more reasonable to produce, right? But at the same time, they told us that too. Like, they could have gotten the details, but... But that's my point. Like, CCP can share... Can ask... can muse about high-level concepts, perhaps. Things that may or may not ever come into fruition. And... not necessarily expose specifics to the player base, right? My point is more, I noticed that there's been a lot more complaints by CSM that they were left out of the blue, and it seems, or in the dark rather, and it seems to be connected to things that are either pretty darn unpopular, like why would they even bother sharing it with the CSM, or intended to be a surprise. You know, where disruption is part of the goal. In the end, we're just players of the game. Like, I don't know where this notion has come from that we somehow, like, CCP is accountable to us insofar as they, like, should be, like, report to us, and if we don't like what they're doing, they should change it because we, like, know better or whatever. Collectively, we're right a lot, but collectively, we're wrong a lot. But to bring it all home, the thing about the CSM, and I'll say this every single time, is that the CSM is a tool. And it's our tool, not CCP's, right? We get to decide what's on it. We get to decide how it gets treated. We get to decide how respectable it is. How much we take it seriously, right? We can either make it an effective tool of communication, or we can just leave it alone. Reminds me of Reddit, right? Reddit's an incredible tool. I hate what our Reddit has become, because the problem is that, yeah, people consider it a shitty place to go, but the thousands of people that go to it every single day, many of them don't realize that that's true, right? They're checking out the game. This is their main content, their main contact to the quote-unquote meta. And that's not unreasonable. Reddit, that's what Reddit is for a lot of people. So we have this very powerful tool to communicate, to get to be able to keep track of current events and, you know, cool memes and whatever. But instead, it's become a haven for people who have quit the game and shit on it, because A, they're interested in doing that, and B, nobody who feels differently is interested in being a counterforce against that. So we lose that tool. So the question is, will we also, what value are we going to get out of the CSM? If the CSM is completely tainted, completely useless as an advisory or supervisional body for CCP in any way, it's still a useful part of the game. It doesn't have to be real for it to be a valuable part of the game. None of the game is a real part of the game, or is real in that sense, right? Like, you're not actually a CEO. You're not actually a tyrant. You're not actually a commander. You're not actually a miner, right? We're pretending to be in a video game. You're a space miner. You're a space pirate, whatever. So the fact that we have space elections and therefore space politicians is cool, regardless of whether or not that body actually does anything. Now, since we have that body, I think it behooves us to get the most out of it. But CCP is going to do what they got to do either way, right? If they're given a decent CSM that they feel like they can trust, then hopefully we move in the right direction. I've seen that happen. And if we give them a CSM that's untrustworthy, then they pull away. And I've definitely seen that happen. So, yeah, that's my feelings on it. Can I afford the shooty weapon now? I got the shooty weapon. That was the shooty weapon. That's why I'm in a new area. Well, the problem is with the special CSM tune is, like, it's not about the tune, it's about the player, right? I have actually heard an idea that, so what if we did it this way, okay? What if you could get elected to the CSM, and once you've been on the CSM, if you have at least one, you know, clean, good term, then your account is paid for the rest of your life, right? No longer is it only while you're on the CSM. You're on CSM once, you do a good job, you don't have to pay for your account ever again. Right? However, was this your idea, Fonsui? I think maybe. The year that you are CSM, you're not allowed to play the game. Your characters are frozen, just like a CCP dev. Yeah. I knew somebody gave me the idea. I need to find a bench and sit in it. Wait, I already sat and I walked past the bench. Didn't sit in it. Dang it. Yeah, nope. It wouldn't really stop the insider trader. You're right. I mean, like, theoretically speaking, there still could be ways of being a bad actor in that case. But the point is that it actively disincentivizes it versus not, right? Basically, the people who are interested, like, by asking them to sacrifice a year of their gameplay, they are, you know, they can work on the game, basically, but not play the game. I think that would disincentivize people that are doing it strictly for in-game motivations. Maybe not stop, but disincentivize. How do you reckon the players could elect a good CSM? Well, so I see a combination of things, right? I'm not so worried about the null blocks, right? I'm worried about the cynicism and apathy, right? The null blocks are doing their part. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're rallying their bases and they're getting their votes in. Don't hate the hater. Or don't hate the player, whatever. So I'm getting close. Where was I? So the solution is that the people who are apathetic, you know, the solution is like what Urslug's doing, right? We're building a new voting base, a new voting block, one that isn't necessarily connected to a null block. And ultimately, I think that that's what it takes. Like, it's not about the people who want to take over the CSM for power. They're the only ones taking it seriously. It's the people who discount it. It's the people who discredit it. It's the people who believe those discreditations and therefore do not participate that makes it so those other people have so much power, right? Like, if at any given time there's no more, there's like 17,000 people logged in, is probably pretty low most of the time, right? We would consider that to be pretty bad. 17K. And yet 10K votes is basically all you need to win. There's people out there, there's votes out there. And the null blocks aren't that big. It's just the sheer amount of discreditation of the CSM that causes other kinds of people to fail to engage with it, which means the people who those people would represent don't get the votes. In the end, thank gosh that Arcia got in eventually because ProGod and them dropped out. But in the end, Arcia didn't lose because the Goon Swarm, or because like the vote was too divided. Arcia lost because there just wasn't enough votes in that bucket. There wasn't enough people who cared about the RP enough to put her or Dutch Gunner or one of the others, like or Uriel on the ballot. She didn't have the votes. Now I really am just making money. Right, but think about all of the people that we hear talking shit about the CSM and about how useless it is, right? If we change that narrative and said like, "Hey, this is a great tool and we need to take it back," then it would be good. What does it take? It takes good people giving a shit. That's it. What is the CSM and what does it do? The CSM is the Council of Stellar Management. Every year, we get to host an election where we select 10, I believe, now, of representatives for us to CCP. They are under NDA, so they're allowed privileged information. And they are flown out to Iceland, in theory, at least once a year for a big summit. I'm just going to keep going around in circles, I guess. Till a different answer jumps out at me. So what I do is I interview as many people on this that are going for the CSM as possible. CCP usually does their own interview, but their interview is usually pretty short, like a 10-minute like get to know them. But I do an hour-long dig-in where we try to figure out, you know, why somebody might want to vote for them, or at least why they're running. Up until last year, the CSM was fine, maybe 2 years, but over the last one, they have so much knowledge of what is coming into the game that they abuse that info. Are we sure about that? Like, because like they've received less information than before. What do we have that shows that they've used their information? And since the null blocks all have or like not all, but you know, both sides, as it were, has representatives, isn't that kind of a strange accusation to take? It's like CSM being a PvPer and getting a new buff shipped for 6 months before anyone else and then saying how great they are. What? Are you talking about like how there seems to be a tendency of like a doctrine being announced and then the buff be announced shortly thereafter? Oh. The mining changes. How does the mining changes match to what you said? Getting new buffed ships 6 months before anybody else. So how did they get the mining ships 6 months before anybody else? And most of the people on the CSM, I don't think, would describe the mining changes as a buff. Yeah, and that's the final note, which is that anybody who didn't know that the mining changes were happening were either not paying attention or accusing CCP of a liar, which you see a lot of, honestly. Like, it's amazing how misinformed the player base is, not because CCP doesn't tell them something, but because when CCP tells them straight up what they're going to do, people call them liars. It was funny the first few times. One of them had... So, hold on. So what you're saying is that a CSM member had a ship in the game that was different than everybody else's ship in the game for several months? Not just that he knew about it? I mean, they knew the details of the changes. Yeah? I don't follow what the complaint is, especially with the mining changes, right? Like, the only thing that surprised me about the mining changes, really, was the fact that the Orca didn't get nerfed nearly as badly as I thought it was going to. Now, if suddenly, like, one of the CSM members invests in Isogen, that would be a pretty big red flag. The Orca got hammered? Okay. You're the one that called it a buff. Are you... Wait, the Orca got hammered because it takes a core now? There's so much that I'm confused by this. How is the Orca hammered? Its mining capabilities went up. And now it can do compression. That's fine. I'm like Josh Shifay's, right? Like, a troll is just free content. It's fine. Oh, the Orca got hammered by being stuck in space? Okay, so it's just the core. Okay. I don't know what to tell you, man. My point was, I'm surprised that the mining ships. Sorry, I'm surprised that the Orca continues to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Competitive as a miner. Yes, it is a Bastion mod. But what he's saying is that because it's stuck in space, they can't run away with it. So it's a big nerf. They're exposed. But like, real talk, like seriously, not ironic. Who's mining in nullsec with orcas but no rope walls? Okay. I think that the bottom line is, even if what you're saying is true, and the CSM is given information about balance passes changes before anybody else, and therefore can theoretically have their ducks in a row before everybody else, who cares? Like, yeah, it's a competitive game, and sure, they do technically work for one side or the other or whatever, but, like, in the end, it's only going to impact things so much. Like, they can only do so much of an advantage before it's detectable and gets them in trouble, right? So, like, it may feel bad, but honestly, you could argue that having a CSM member have their decks in a row early means that when it comes out, or when it's, you know, ready, there's somebody who's like trying it at a higher level already ready to go. You know what I mean? Like, there's somebody who's able to look at things before everybody else and like help pave the road, as it were. Now, do I think that they should be breaking their NDA? No. But I'm just saying, like, I don't see that as a reason or a necessary flaw in the CSM. I think the bigger flaw is, as I said, like, if the point of CCP that CCP is trying to do is to cause us to not know what's happening, to feel like anything could happen at any time, then to expect that they would, like, secretly behind the scenes be telling the CSM what is going on is just absolutely ludicrous, right? Like, nobody knowing, like, the CSM being stuck in the loop. Like, that's the thing. The CSM being out of the loop can be part of the decision, right? Having the CSM not know what the hell's going on actually aids in the sense of chaos that CCP was trying to provoke. But just to be clear, I'm roughly sure it's impossible for the CSM to have a different version of a ship than everybody else, and Fonsui and I not being aware of that. Like, very hard to believe. Would they get in trouble if they used an NDA information? Yeah. I mean, Brisk, the whole Brisk fiasco was because somebody sold their Moloch. A friend of Brisk sold his Moloch just prior to the announced super capital changes. And so it was accused that Brisk had let Pando know about it, and Pando had sold his Moloch. Like, yeah, they care. Cared enough to make an international incident out of it. Jesus. Oh, I'm still confused, though. You're not saying that they actually had equipment that we didn't have, right? Like, they just knew about the changes ahead of time. Because I'll tell you this, there have been changes that I knew about ahead of time. Or at least I could guess based on the questions that I was asked. The question is it worth permanently fucking up your reputation and ability to play the game just for a small advantage in a change?
Oh, not on that.
Well, except for we're not talking about ISK though. We're talking about, like, we know. So to strong, what is it? Steelman the argument a little bit. What I believe he's suggesting is, like, let's say hypothetically the CSM or the CCP is going to nerf all of the Munins and buff the Cerberus, right? And the CSM know about this ahead of time. It doesn't need to be an ISK issue. If suddenly one of the groups of the CSM starts stockpiling Cerberuses and putting out a Cerberus training plan to their players and being like, you know, we were thinking about checking out Cerberuses soon enough, so go ahead and start training this. And then, you know, 2 months later, they get buffed. It's like, oh, look, how convenient that we were just in the right place at the right time to take advantage of this change. I think it's closer to that kind of accusation. Joke's on you, we're already using both. I used it as a hypothetical. Yeah, that's it exactly. But again, so here's the thing about that, all right? In most of the major engagements recently, both of the major players within the engagement have representatives on the CSM. Okay? What that means is that if one side pulled that kind of shenanigans, the other side would detect it, right? Like it could potentially go unnoticed by us, but if if a member of the CSM gets told that they're buffing Cerberuses and then sees that their opponent, who's also on the CSM, like 2 days later announces a new Cerberus strategy, I think it's pretty easy to be like, hey, that doesn't look right at all. Dang it. And in fact, so there have been times of that happening, but I mean, obviously the most visible time of that accusation coming up, it turned out to be a false accusation. So it's been a long time since we've had somebody like actually accused of and kicked out successfully for breaking NDA. Oh, Hornet. She is the main. You get to play as her in the upcoming sequel, and I say upcoming in a more or less perpetual meaning. CCP should randomly tell the CSM untrue changes. I actually think so, and I think that CCP should also like add in text that are like, we joke around or we talk about the fact that they can put red herrings and false stuff into the Hobo Leaks, but honestly they don't do it enough. The information that we see on Hobo Leaks is way too trustworthy. I can piece together the story before the events even come out just by reading all the strings, right? Like, and at the same time, just look at the Concord event, right? Like, on the one hand, I was able to tell you guys that there's a second half of the event before there was one. But on the other hand, there was a bit of a moment of pretty good confusion where when suddenly what looked like two sides of an event ended up being only one, right? Like, if they had just done that and made it look like it was two sides and actually do one. Now, you don't want to, like, set up a disappointment, but, you know, you could theoretically put in stuff that seems to imply a certain thing while sneaking in the strings that tell the real story out of context. I think that it'd be a good thing to do. Now, their solution is mostly to... oh, my God. Their solution is mostly to simply, like, for strings and stuff, not give us the final string anymore until it's, like, almost time for release. They'll put stand-in text. Like snark. But yeah, I agree. CCP should give the CSM changes that they aren't actually going to do. Like, if they have an idea versus a feedback, or like if it's like what they're about to implement versus like just something they're experimenting with, just talk about it in the same exact like style and let the person know, like let that be obvious, right? Like, don't try to hide it. Don't seem inconsistent. Just be like, hey, you never know how far along the information that we're asking is or whether or not it is even real. It could be a completely hypothetical argument in order to get a certain piece of information. Like, you just don't know. It's like, don't try to read into it. But, I mean, even then, the problem is that you're only going to get, like, so good at fudging it. So, like, you're going to release little stats here and there, and then suddenly there's this big block of stats that's every single mining ship in the game. It's going to be obvious, you know, which one of those is the one that you've really worked on. It reminds me of the book, The GEB, which I strongly recommend. Anybody, if you think that you're a smart dude and you want to read a book that tests to see how smart of a dude you are, read the GEB. If you want to melt your brain and understand or like learn about recursion, emergent intelligence, emergent systems, and all that kind of stuff, GEB's there for you. It's called The Gödel, Escher, and Bach, Eternal Golden Braid. Either way, can't remember what brought that up now. Dang it. It's a good book. That's fair. Oh, right, I remember now. So, at the beginning of every chapter, there is a Lewis and Carroll character type story, like the tortoise and the hare, and all that stuff, like through Alice and Through the Looking Glass characters doing stuff. And in one of the stories, they are discussing about how they like books, but they don't like the fact that you can just skip to the end of the book and read it. And that the problem is that, the temptation is always there to look at the end of the book. It's too easy, right? You just flip it over to the last page once, and then poof, you've spoiled the entire book for yourself, right? So wouldn't it be awesome if there was like some sort of mechanism, or like they put some sort of second story afterwards that made it so that if you just skip to the back, you would actually get a different ending to a different story, right? And then it was like, well, how long does that story go? If there is a clear delineation between the two, like a chapter break, then it'd be too easy to find. So the story needs to be constructed as such that it ends and comes to a logical conclusion, but then changes in such a way that it becomes apparently obvious to the reader that this is past the end of the story, that this is the false story, right? That the story concludes itself, but then keeps going in a way that is nonsensical to the person who's actually reading it. And so you know that it's the false ending. And they agree with that, and then the police break in and a whole bunch of other crazy stuff happens. Like literally that exact thing happens in that story, right? Like the story ends, and then this like absolute absurdist, almost Monty Python-y kind of concluding piece that is so out of character with the rest of it that you can tell that it's not part of the original story. I think I need to go up if possible. I need to go up if possible. Go down. Goes down. Basically like every dream I've ever had. There you go, I guess. Huh. Are you shitting me? I'm gonna have to go all the way back around because I didn't get double. I was probably supposed to go the right way and get double jump while I was over there. Damn it. Well, I did need more thingies. Geodes. By the way, the orange stuff is the corruption. That is the moth god radiance. That's their corruption. There's actually some interesting theories about this game because again, kind of like Dark Souls, it's very environmental storytelling. And while the developers have basically outright said that there is no lore, as it were, necessarily, that there's just kind of interesting things, there does seem to be like something at least going on. Oh, yeah, especially when it comes to like the nature of the White King, because you can find. Like, there is lore, it's just not like there's a cohesive story that you're supposed to eventually piece together, a la, Dark Souls. and you can make a series of books with each with a weird ending, and the weird ends make its own story. That's a good idea. But remember, they need to be similar enough, like use the same characters and everything, thus such as at a cursory glance it appears to be the same story, but when reading it you can tell that it's a complete breakaway from everything that was happening. And the story that you were reading had a nice logical conclusion. That's just one of the chapter openings of the book. There's another one about the tortoise and the hare where I think it was well, either way. One of them had a record player that could play any record. And then the other one would put on a record that was entitled, "This record cannot be played on this record player." Or "This record player can't be used on the record player that can play any records," or anything like that. Something like that, and then it breaks it, right? And so then he goes and makes one that makes it so that it can play all of the records, including that one. But then the other guy is able to bring in a record that does that one too. And it basically was a manifestation of Gödel's uncertainty principle, right? Where you cannot create a system that is complete and free from contradiction, which is a big chunk of what the book's about. It's called GEB because it's comparing and contrasting and exploring the works of Gödel, the mathematician, Escher, the artist, and Bach, the musician. Because they all did stuff involving recursion and such. Nope. Huh. Really? Fine. From moss and leaf our life is drawn. While it grows upon the path, we shall never wilt. Nothing here. Nothing down there. I think this just takes me back to the beginning, doesn't it? Oh, I need to wrap things up. It is getting to be time for my son to get home. So, tomorrow, I want to do some exploration for the event sites. And one of the things I really want to talk about is Dust 514. We talked about Dust 514 a little bit the other day, or at least why I think that Dust 515 isn't going to be the name of the title. But especially with the discussions I saw online today, there's a new Rock, Paper, Shotgun article talking about CCP's 2 failed shooters. And Oh, there's so much bad information in that article. But at the same time, I wanted to like get all my ducks in a row before I discussed it. And if I was going to do that, then I wouldn't get live on time. You know, I would have not wasted, but I would have consumed even more of time, and risk like getting to the point where it isn't even worth going live for like an hour or whatever. So I opted to push it to tomorrow. Hey, Hiplacero07, thank you for that Prime Sub Gaming, Prime Gaming sub. So yeah, we're going to be discussing all that stuff tomorrow. I'm going to be talking about Dust 514, how it was as a game, what happened after that, etc. And we're going to look at it, like we're going to look up news articles and walk our way through the timeline. So that way we have a good piece of information. So that way anytime somebody starts talking about this on Reddit or on a forum or on, God forbid, a goddamn news article, we can just tell them the truth. I posted it on the forums on somebody's thread, but yeah, because it's kind of frustrating because it's really only one project, and we think about it as I'd be willing to agree they had one failed shooter, although it made its like by every metric it was successful. But either way, saying the second failed shooter because Nova was called back before it entered into open alpha or closed alpha or whatever is disappointing. We'll go with that. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Until then, let's go ahead and find somebody to raid. I've been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden. And until next time, I'll see you in space. Oh yeah, this is probably only going to go up to the patrons, by the way, because, you know, different games and all that stuff. Oh, all right. There we go. Maybe? Oh yeah, I'm in a totally different section of my thing because I'm doing something different today. My bad. And I'll see you in space.
Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city